Hey everyone, here's a screencast I promised. So in questions 12 and 13, we have a class hierarchy of bird, then parrots and owls, and then parakeets are parrots. So the question is, which one of these will cause an error? So the answer is A, because if you look at print bird call, the print bird call method has a one parameter that's a parrot, which is the subclass data type. Okay, however, bird 2 is actually the superclass data type. All right, now you can't supply a superclass, an object whose data type is superclass, for a method whose parameter is subclass. Because if you think about it, if you just could supply any bird, at all, which is the superclass, then owls are also birds. Okay, so then technically you would be supplying an owl when a parrot is needed, and that obviously wouldn't make sense. Okay, so that's number 13. Number 12. Number 13, it says the method 1 in class B. Let's see, class A and class B. So method 1 is in both classes, both the subclass and the superclass. So that means it is overridden in the subclass. So the answer is method overriding. The next one, so we have the first two are class A objects, class A variables. So object 1 and object 2, so we're trying to call method 3 for class A variable. So let's see if method 3 is in class A. It is not in class A, okay, and it is not inherited. So that means 1 and 2 are both going to produce errors and that's due to a violation of static binding, where you look at the data type to see if that method that is being called, it doesn't matter what kind of object it's being called for, you're only looking at the variable's data type and making sure that that method is a part of that class. Now, what you could do is you could downcast object 1 and object 2 to be um, class B objects, and class B does have that method too. So, that would be one way of getting around it. Number 3 is fine. You have a class B object, a class B variable, and the class B does have method 2. Now, it doesn't actually have method 2, but it inherits method 2, so that is okay. So the answer is 3 only. Okay, I did not like numbers 15 and 16 because it was too hard for me to go back and forth between all of the source code, and I apologize for that. So solid S1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll just do number 15. I wasn't completely sure I was following number 16. So number 15, so you have 4 variables that are solids, okay? And what are you assigning to each of them? You are assigning either a solid object, which is fine, or a subclass object, which is fine. So that means the first 3 are fine, and you can always assign null to any object variable. So that means S4 is fine as well. So that means 0 of them are incorrect. All of them are correct. Okay, I'm going to skip over number 16. They say the answer is A. I'm not quite sure how that jives with this flipping a coin thing, but honestly, it was just too much source code to go through for me to worry about, and I don't think you're going to have that, the 3 of you who are taking the AP exam, because basically each question has to fit on a screen in its entirety, so you're probably not going to have anything that lengthy. Okay, so now in the next one we have a player and we have an expert player. Okay, so which segment will cause an error? Player P1 equals new expert player. Okay, that's fine. We're creating a subclass object, assigning it to a superclass variable. int1 equals p1.getMove. Okay, so p1 is player, so getMove has to be in the player class, even though it's an expert player object, for that to be legal. So let's look at player. Is getPlayer in, let's see, getMove in the player class? Yes, it is. So that means 1 is fine. Number 2, now we're creating expert player objects, assigning them to expert player variables. That means C1.compareTo C2. Okay, so compareTo is a method that all objects inherit, all object variables inherit from the object class, so that's legal. But the question is, getMove. Okay, so we have expert player C1 and C2. So is getMove in the expert player class, or is it inherited by the expert player class? I believe it is, because player has getMove, expert player inherits it. So you should be fine then. So 2 is correct, and now let's look at 3. H1, okay, so now we're once again creating 2 players variables, assigning expert player objects to them. So, okay, so x equals h1.getMove and h2.getMove. Okay, so getMove, is it in the player class? Yes, it is. Okay, so you should be fine. Oh, wait, hang on. You know what? I'm incorrect about, let's see. Hang on.